Ryan.
Today, we are learning basketball with Haroon, the assistant coach and director of video operations with Prolific Prep, who is fresh off the win against Utah Prep and just a few weeks ago beat Columbus, beating these huge high school matchups, coaching Darryn Peterson against AJ Dybantsa and Cameron Boozer in head-to-head matchups. Darren's a projected top 3 2026 NBA draft pick who's now led Prolific Prep to head-to-head wins against fellow top 3 picks, really making a name for himself in these matchups. So super excited to dig into his game and his rising stardom. But, first, how you doing today, Mo?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Better since we won those games and better than I would have been if he had lost. So, can't complain right now. Team's healthy. Things are trending in the right direction. So, yeah, everything's good right now.
No doubt. I mean, I bet the team's just, feeling proud of themselves and ecstatic to get those big games, checked off the box and kind of roll out from here. Where's the team's mindset at after that and kind of expectations for the rest of the season?
I think, obviously we're happy after those wins, celebrate those wins, enjoy those moments. But at the same time, we understand there's more work ahead on our basketball and our biggest works ahead of us because, we want to go win Chipotle and win the national championship. So, be happy, celebrate it, enjoyed it that night. We have the day off today, but, tomorrow we're back to work. And, something we like to say, something Coach Ryan says every day is today is the most important day. So today's the most important day. Tomorrow's going to be the most important day. And, we're just going to have to keep that mindset throughout the year, keep consistent with it, and hopefully, get I don't know if they give banners for our high school championship, for the Chipotle national championship, or whatever you get. Hopefully we get that because we want to win it.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I was actually just at Montverde for the Sunshine Classic, and they've got banners, for like every year for the last like decade. It feels like hanging up there. So Prolific's got their eye on the prize now. I like it. So backing up a little bit, you were telling me you were the head coach of the select team for Prolific Prep just last season, and I was just kind of wondering, what's your path like to get where you are today with Prolific Prep? What's your background and kind of like your coaching philosophy that's really helped you, carve out a career to this point?
So like my background, like, I just really love basketball, like since I was a little kid, since about third grade. The first basketball game I watched was in the 2008 playoffs, so like third grade. And, like every little kid, I wanted to play in the NBA. And by about fifth grade, maybe early sixth grade, I sort of put 2 and 2 together that wasn't in the cards for me. And I wasn't going to go to the NBA. I'm very unathletic. So, I really, besides playing pickup basketball and like YMCA basketball and all that, like I still try to play like, when I can, like pick up when I go home and stuff. For fun, but really I was a manager in high school. After I was a manager in high school, I went to Xavier University for college in the Big East, and I was a manager there. And the director of basketball operations there, Trey Scotty, he and I had a good relationship. I worked pretty hard when I was at Xavier, and so that became a good relationship, which is important later on. After Xavier, the first year out, I worked for Sports Information Solutions as a video scout. I worked for DJ Sackman, the trainer. Like I just did a lot of like things here and there, trying to just get my foot in the door anywhere. And after like sort of a year of just trying to find myself, Coach Steele, who is the head coach at Xavier, he's now the head coach in Miami, Ohio. Him and Coach Groh, who is a coach at Charleston right now, he helped me get a job at an NAIA school called University of Rio Grande under head coach Ryan Arrowwood over there. And, I was there for a year as an assistant coach. That was one of the best years of my life, special team. And for me, I was 23 at the time and got to say I was a college coach, which was really cool to me. And yeah, we had a great year. We went 25-7, 16-1 in our conference, won the conference, we won a game in the national tournament, which was Rio's first time in the national tournament since like our first time winning a national tournament game since like 2000 or something like that. And only our second appearance since like 2000. So, it was a great year, like 2 separate 10-game winning streaks. Still talk to all those guys, all those players to this day. And then that next August, I saw Prolific was looking for something or looking for coaches. So I texted Trey Scotty, who was the Dobo at Xavier, as I mentioned. And, a lot of times when these jobs get posted, they're already filled and they're posting them for, HR purposes. So, I just texted Trey. I'm like, do you know if this is actually open or anything? And he was like, no, but he knew the head coach at Prolific, Ryan Bernardi, and texted him on my behalf. And me and Ryan got in touch, talked a couple times. And from there, Ryan brought me on as the select head coach. Had a pretty good year. We played a bunch of games, like 50 games. So it was like almost like an NBA schedule compared to like what most people are playing that age. And we played the school, Napa Christians. Like that's the school all our players go to. We played their high school schedule, their CIF schedule. And like that was like our regular season. Like, so, but if you count like fall league and all that, we played like 50 games, but like, we just played that high school season. And, it was pretty low level in terms of competition, in terms of we were like a Division 6 team, but still we had a really good year, made it to all the way to the state championship game with just freshmen and sophomores. Like my oldest player was a sophomore. We had Obinna Ekezie, who's a 5-star now. ESPN has him as number 10 in their latest rankings in 2027. We had a really good guard and just a real named Braden Worth. He led I think he was either first in the state or second in the state in scoring at 37 a game. And, those two, some other supporting players, we were able to get to the state championship. We weren't able to close it out, but had a really good year. I learned a lot in that experience. I also was a AAU head coach this summer before that with Midwest Basketball Club. So, like in a span of like probably 8-9 months, I was a head coach for over 100 games or about 100 games. And, was lucky enough to have a lot of talent and have a good record, but also still like, take my bumps and like learn a lot. And, head coaching reps are invaluable. So to any other young coach, I would really like recommend becoming a head coach as soon as you can, whatever the level is, because there's nothing that simulates it. And yeah, then this year, I felt like it was best for me just to be an assistant coach at Prolific, so I got to travel a bit more, learn the video side of things, just so I can try to get a job in college. Like now I know sports code like the back of my hand. I've always been really good with synergy, but just trying to develop my video skills so I can get a Dobo or video coordinator job soon here. And, just also get to experience like the being on the national level, getting to travel, getting to be like, I was around those guys every day last year, but this year I get to coach them, be involved with that. And yeah, so we're here now.
Man, definitely got a lot of meaningful experience there. And man, going back to the first thing you said, 2008 playoffs, you're talking like the KG Celtics, like the big three, right?
Yeah, so
made you a fan? I mean, talk about.
I'm from LA. I grew up a diehard Lakers fan. I'm still a diehard Lakers fan.
Yeah.
We're in a bit of beat Portland last night, but we're in a bit of a rough stretch here. But yeah, I'm still I'll always bleed. Even if I got hired, I hope I will one day. I will one day get hired by an NBA team. Part of me is always going to bleed purple and gold. Like I love the Lakers. Like,
hey, I hear you, man. I'm right there with the Orlando Magic, the blue and white. It's running through the veins. But obviously, you root for the team that employs you at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Once you get there. But speaking of Ekezie, I mean, he's really an impressive big man. You said he's rising up the ranks for the 2027 draft, like a 7-foot center. I caught his game in the last 2 matchups in the big matchups against Columbus and Utah Prep. And I mean, what stood out to me is just his defensive instincts and kind of his fundamentals, his timing, like able to like keep his hands up tall, use that height and strength effectively, and then have a little explosiveness for rim protection. So, what else kind of stood out to you coaching him as kind of a prospect going forward?
I mean, first of all, just his youth. I mean, he's high school class of 2027, so he's a sophomore.
Mm.
So super young. And then all the off court stuff, like Obi's like my little brother. Like I pick him up for school every morning because his parents, like, this is a prep school, so his parents aren't here. I'm gonna take him back to his host family in a couple hours, and just he's just like a little, like, you people forget because he's 7'1" and this humongous human being, but he's like a little kid. Like he's gonna go home and like play Fortnite all night. Like, like he's like a little kid, and it's like very like charming in a way. Like, just the way he speaks and stuff. It's like you're really like, wow, I'm speaking to a child right now. Um, and I mean that in the best way, like in an endearing way. And then on the court, I think one, like, just like his approach to like being able to get coached hard. Like, you can, if you ever have him on an interview, you can ask him about my first month coaching him, like where I was just yelling at him every day about his motor not being good enough, which it wasn't. And he was able to take it, internalize it, and he's gotten a lot better. Like, I think, and that's sort of the last one I'll touch on. Like, you know, everyone sees the Columbus and the Utah prep games, but like Obi was like last year in the fall, he was a bad basketball player. He was horrible. And I don't mean that as an insult to him. I mean it as a compliment because like I've never seen someone improve as much as he has that fast. And that's just a testament to his ability to take coaching and his work ethic. Like, everyone sees the dunks and the blocks and stuff, but people don't see every day this summer when he wasn't with AAU. And I know, like, instead of going home to his family in Nigeria, he spent the entire summer here in Napa with me. And every day we woke up at 6 a.m., drove an hour to our strength and conditioning coach. And, he would work out every day on his body for an hour, plyometrics, mobility drills, strengths, or weights, I mean. And, he's improved his body so much. And then, like, after we wake up 6 a.m., get there 7 a.m., finish by like 8:30, get back at 9:30 to Napa, then he does a basketball workout, right? And then we would take him home, I'd rest for a bit, come back in the evening or early after, or like 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock, and just do some shooting. And like that's every day for 2 or 3 months, and that's in between AAU games and AAU travel. And people don't see that work, and that's sort of the, like, most guys don't start taking weights seriously till he gets to college, and like he did that at 16 years old. So I think like his work ethic and his accountability is probably what stands out to me the most, on top of what you said, just the size, the feel, like the defensive feel. And then people haven't seen it yet, but he's going to be able to shoot threes at 7'1" eventually. Like, he's good. Like, he has a good looking shot. He makes his free throws. Like, he's going to be a good 3-point shooter.
All right. Well, we got to keep an eye on that development. Yeah, I mean, it gets lost real easy with folks and fans how young these prospects really are. I mean, like they're just a kid growing up like everyone else going to high school, and he happens to be really good at basketball and really tall and strong, and like that
Exactly.
development happens
You're
fast.
kids. Like, whenever I get too mad, I just think to myself, like, I'm like, these guys are children. They're like, don't, like, relax. Like, I mean, the way I'd put it is like, even like the seniors who are supposed to be like older, obviously. I'm 25, so if I saw like a college freshman, I'm like, that's a baby, because I'm just thinking of myself freshman year of college and how long ago that was and how much I've changed. And then I'm like looking at these high school kids, I'm like, and they're younger than that. So they're just guys growing up doing the best they can, and I think people lose that, like, but yeah, like, obviously they're blessed with talent, but that doesn't mean they're not children.
Yeah, absolutely. So we wish him the best of luck in his development, and hope he keeps rising up on those draft boards. And so bouncing around, the talent going through prolific prep is really insane when you look at it. Just like even just listing off some names. I mean, that maybe even before you got there, that you had Jalen Green and Josh Jackson and Gary Trent Jr. These highly touted players go through that system. And then just last year, I mean, basketball is at a point where there's a lot of transfers that happen fast. So you got talent coming in and coming out. But just last year, I mean, you had Aiden Sherrell, Mikey Lewis, Diallo, Tyran Stokes, AJ Dybantsa, obviously, and then Winters Grady is still there as well. So
Derrion Reed too.
There you go. Yeah, I mean the talent comes crazy, or just keeps coming. So what can you tell me kind of about some of the players that are no longer here, like some of those names, and then what was it like getting to know Tyran Stokes and AJ Dybantsa up close on a day-to-day basis?
I mean, I think the first thing that stands out, and this wasn't new for me when I got to Prolific. This is sort of when I got to Xavier. But these guys are just people at the end of the day. Like, the stars are there, the Instagram followers and all that are there. But at the end of the day, they're just still people, every day. Like they go home and they have their hobbies and they come to practice, like just like, regular people go to practice or go to school or go to work. But yeah, no, it was great getting to know them. I lived with Mikey. Me and him lived at an apartment last year. That's my guy. I'm really close with him. Need to get to catch a couple St. Mary's games. They're just like 40 minutes away, so I need to make that drive. AJ and Tyran, they're definitely characters. Tyran's like one of the funniest people you'll meet. Very easygoing, very like wants to be relaxed, loves to joke, loves to smile. AJ's very similar. Those two are pretty close friends, so they have pretty similar personalities. AJ's a bit more serious, but like he's still very joking person. Loves to smile, loves to have fun. They both love to do their like TikTok dances and stuff. But yeah, like I could go down the whole team. Aiden Sherrell is one of the funniest people you'll meet. He's that type of person who he'll talk to anyone in the room and have a great conversation with them. He's just very charismatic. Like he goes out of his way to say what's up to everyone. Just a great human being. Derrion is like a professional, like pro. Shows up to practice, on time. Does his extra work off the court by himself or with a coach. Leaves, doesn't cause any issues, like a real pro. Zoom also super charismatic, like loves to joke around, treats everyone super well, and then like very committed to what he's doing. Like, whatever it is, basketball, not basketball, he's a very committed person.
Yeah, and I was able to catch your team last year in live at the Montverde Academy Invitational Tournament, and then also the tape of the Hoop Hall Classic title game, where I was kind of doing a little feature on all these potential number one picks, all playing against the same time. It was actually the first time that three projected number one prospects 3 years in a row were all playing in the same game together with Stokes, Dybantsa, and Cooper Flagg.
So I remember that. That was two great games. Would have been better if we had come out with the wins, but two great games, two classics. Montverde obviously had an amazing team last year. All those guys are killing it in college now.
Absolutely, and that. So I wrote down like a scouting report on Swish Theory for that, and also a video version on YouTube that anyone can go and find if they want to see some more thoughts. But just to quickly hit on some of the players, Aiden Sherrell, his defensive instinct, similar to Ekezie, I suppose, just able to strongly use that strength and length effectively. Good defensive instincts down low as a rim protector. You got Mikey Lewis with super high field point guard, scoring creator, just deep range shooting, knockdown, splashy shooter. Diallo, explosive downhill force, bringing that quick first step burst, just really getting to the north-south rack, driving with ease. Just so much talent. And I mean, Tyran Stokes, I mean, like there's a reason he's projected to be number one a couple years from now. I mean, this guy is it's funny. I've seen Markelle Fultz a lot up close in Orlando while he was here, and that's kind of the movement. I don't know about the game, but like the athletic movement, that body control, herky jerky style, the explosiveness, kind of reminded me a little of the way Markelle would throw like a hang dribble crossover as he's flying downhill to the rim. So I don't
And
know.
he's like, and the thing is, Tyron's like 6'8", 200 something. Like Tyron is a physical specimen, man. He is a massive human being, and then he moves so well, like crazy,
Yeah.
can jump out the gym, just like physically, he's just a freak.
Right, and we're talking about a point guard basically at like he
Yeah,
can run the
exactly.
offense at 6'8", like that's wild. And then I believe he played like up. I might have this wrong. He played up a year in the FIBA World Cup, when
Yeah,
playing overseas, like on Team USA. I mean,
yeah.
he's
I believe
playing
he
with
played up a year. He's been
yeah.
playing on 17s for EYBL ever since he was 15. So
Yeah, I mean, just wild for him to be able to not only hang with that level of talent, but to have the athleticism and skill already to like make his presence known among that level of talent on a team that features Dybantsa, Senac, Native Men, just all these projected top picks a couple years before him. So, I mean, Stokes is someone that's really impressive. Really, might be one of the or is one of the best high school prospects in the country right now, and a name to be excited for a couple drafts out. About unless he reclassifies, I think that was a rumor, but he's about three drafts out at the moment. But super excited to see him, and then you know Winters Grady has been on both of these teams, so he's a knockdown shooter. I've caught him in those games, and then also at the NBPA Top 100 Camp, and he's just rating really high. Cerebro rates him highly for 3-point effectiveness, and he was a good free throw shooter, showing a lot of indicators with touch and shooting at the free throw line from downtown, where like that's a legit shooting gravity. And then what also impresses is he can also attack the closeout. He can execute some horns pick and roll as the screener or the initiator. So a lot of kind of more all around ball skills that you see with Winters Grady that you might not see with the average shooter. So what stands out to you about Winters as a person and a prospect?
Um, person, just work ethic, obsession with basketball. Like that dude loves basketball. He's probably somewhere in the gym right now shooting or practicing. You work on his handle and his competitiveness. Also, like the loyalty aspect of it has to play a part. Just like he was here last year. Obviously, the team sort of like left, and it would have been easy for him to leave. And he didn't. He stuck it out. He's trusted us, and he's still here, and it's going well so far. Like you said, the shooting and the shot making. I know in 3SSB shot 40 something% on 7 attempts from three. I have our numbers for this year, and he is shooting 40.3% for the year on 6 attempts a game. So,
he's getting them up.
yeah, he. Hopefully, we can get that 6 attempts a game up more. Like, ideally, that'd be in the 8 or 9 range, maybe 10. But like you said, he also has more to his game than just shooting. His pull-up jumper, like more than catch and shoot. His pull-up jumper is lethal. Shot 50% from mid range and 3 SSB. So coming off drop or coming off ball screens, you can't sit. You can't sit in a drop with him, or you can't show it. You can't just do a show and recover with him. Like you have to throw 2 at him, and in ISO situations, he's going to get to his spot, rise over the top, knock it down. And then he has a post game. His post fadeaway is probably his best shot to me. And he's a guy, he's pretty tall. He's like 6'6", 6'7". At the, maybe not in the NBA, but before then, he's going to have a lot of length advantage at the 2-3 spot, especially at the 2. And if he has a smaller guy on him, you can just post him up and he'll shoot that fadeaway all day and make it. And, the other teams are going to have to adjust. But yeah, I think the commitment to the game, shot making, and he's not someone to settle. Like, he could really shoot it. He doesn't want to just be a shooter though. So he started working on all the other aspects of his game, and that's why you see like the ability to score in ISO or off the post or in ball screens.
Yeah, and that's good to know that post up fadeaway is kind of like a go to move for him. I saw him do that I think it was against the Utah Prep on the tape, and it was like a baseline out of bounds, just a quick post up entry, and he like looks to the side for a second, and then a quick like spinning fadeaway, and I was like, oh, that's in his bag too. I mean that's like a tough shot to really contest when you like you said you have that length advantage in the post, you have a smooth jump shot and you're fading away, there's only so many people that can really contest that. Like you can get to that move quite a bit. So it's nice to know that it's not just the 3-point shot, not just pull ups and catch and shoots, but he can also initiate a little bit, run some pick and rolls. He can pop out of the screen or maybe even post up a mismatch. So a little bit of scoring versatility that Winters Grady brings as well. So super impressive. And then let's jump right into some of these big matchups. You
Yeah.
took out Columbus a few weeks ago. Darryn Peterson, I was so blown away by the tape. I had to like quickly break down every play I saw him make and write down a whole scouting report on the game of just him for Swish Theory. And to me, that was like obviously he's been in the talks for top 3 pick for a while, but that was just like his claim for the throne type of statement game. 33 points. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's sort of why Darren. That was part of the reason that he wanted to come out here to Prolific because he knew we would have Boozer and AJ on the schedule, and there's healthy competitiveness between those three. All three want the top spot, and what better way to settle it than play against each other? And that game was amazing. Like I remember we were down 12 in the first quarter. He hits a three at that buzzer of the first to get it to 9. That right there was just a huge shot mentally because there's a big difference between being down 12 and being not down 9. Like you're down 9, you're like, okay, we just played a terrible quarter. We're right here. We're fine. 12 is when it starts to get like ooh, are we? What's going on here?
Yeah,
And then that
double
second
digits.
quarter, first of all, credit to Seven Spurlock because he did a fantastic job on Boozer. But that second quarter, Darren just went off, and it was crazy to see. Um, you know, and then the Utah Prep game was sort of similar, where we started off slow. Darren started off a little slow in the first, and then he got a couple layups, he split the defense and dunked it, and from there he got going. Ended the first half at 20, and he's just he's a relentless competitor. He's obsessed with basketball, always in the gym, and you know those sort of matchups are why we love to see the game, right? So they were fun games to be a part of. I wasn't unfortunately wasn't at the Utah Prep game, but I was at the Columbus game, and that was electric. And we were talking about the '08 playoffs. The first basketball game I ever watched was the Lakers versus the Jazz with Carlos Boozer. Coaching against his two sons, that was pretty cool for me. Carlos Boozer was on the other side, like sitting directly across from me. So that was like a little full circle moment for me personally. But
Yeah, that's awesome. I randomly caught he was Carlos Boozer was at the matchup against Montverde that I was at, so he was like sitting like 5 seats ahead of me next to Jason Richardson because both their kids were on the team. It was a
yeah,
very like I'm now older than I used to be moment where
no,
we're
it
watching
was
their
crazy
sons
because
play.
and after the game, I saw Jason Richardson walking around outside, and I was like, "Oh, I remember you on the Suns." The play Jason Richardson play I remember was Game 5 against the Suns. I mean, when Ron Artest hit the bank shot to win it,
Okay.
Jason Richardson banked in a 3 right before that to make it tied in the first place.
Man,
Um, yeah,
man.
so like I saw him, and I was just man, like I hated you when you banked that shot in.
Still holding on to it all these
Yeah,
years
we
later.
won the game, or the Lakers won the
There
game,
you
so
go.
it's okay. But
Yeah,
yeah, like
got the
that
last
was
laugh.
that's what I was saying about.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, he was. They obviously should have never broken up that Suns team. Like that was just the perfect balance with J. Rich at the 2 and Nash, Marion, Amari. I mean, it was too much talent. They shouldn't. That was the core that to me that really would have been special. But we had J. Rich on Orlando too, so that makes him a Magic legend. Shout out to J. Rich. Always
Yeah,
fun watching him back with the Dwight teams. But you know back to Darryn Peterson, like he's just incredible. Like it's good to know that he wanted to face these other guys, these other top 3 projected picks in a head-to-head to kind of show himself on the national stage, put his name like into the conversation, whether you like it or not. I mean, 33 points, 8 boards, 4 assists, 3 blocks, 2 steals against Columbus. Really just showed incredible two-way feel. You mentioned how he was willing the team. I think he scored like 16 of the first 18 at
Yeah,
least
he like
against Columbus. Like just insane. You mentioned the buzzer beater. That was the first one where it's like, oh, he's about to get hot. Where he hits a runner floater like on the side, almost half court 3 to beat the buzzer, and then just goes off with like stampede movement, decisiveness, that burst speed, acceleration. His body control is what is incredible. The deceleration, that ability, that change of pace where you could just stop on a dime and then explode to the rim is just like clearly deserves to have his name in the talks for that top pick. And you shouted out Seven Spurlock. He's also showing some good defense against Dybantsa too. So I mean, what can you tell me about Spurlock a little bit?
So Seven's like, that's sort of like the role he's taken with this team. Like you said, Darren's a really good defender too, but like we don't want to wear Darryn down where he's doing so much offensively that we're also gonna be like, okay, you have to go guard the other team's best player too, like for the full game. Like we'll give him, like he drew Dybantsa a bit, especially in the second half, but Seven's just sort of like strong 6'5" wing, guard wing who can like guard 1 through 4 pretty much very comfortably, and he takes a lot of pride in that role, and he always knows to scout to a T, like not just for his matchup but for the entire team. Like that's something that stood out to me, and just like I guess like sort of willpowers his way into good defense. Like he's very physical. He's gonna get up underneath you, and he can guard you in multiple ways. If if he needs to bangs with someone in the post, he can do that. If he needs to stay in front and get over the top of a screen, he can do that. If he needs to chase you off the ball screens, then he can do that. Like, and every team needs role players and guys who buy into the roles. And thankfully, Seven's been a great sport about buying into being the stopper of our team, and he's had a lot of success about it from it. And that's going to continue being his role, and I think he's going to continue succeeding at it at all this level, the next level, and onwards.
Hey, I mean, being the guy that slows down the opposing team superstar and you get the win is hard to find as well. So I mean, it's a good little notch in his belt for his basketball resume, that he's able to be something of a star stopper, or at least the guy that can slow down the other team's best player. So that's a good little feather in his cap, and should only help. And I can definitely see how it kind of frees Darryn to kind of focus on some other things, and it kind of unleashes him into like a help defense role where maybe he can like use that field to jump passing lanes and make blocks.
The defensive playmaking with all the steals he gets and the blocks he gets. And I'm glad you changed it to slow down, because I don't want to disrespect AJ or Boozer in case they listen to this. With those elite players, there's no stopping.
Yeah, the best
you can hope for. I mean, AJ I think had 28 against us. Those guys are phenomenal talents. Going to be in the NBA for long times. Have be all stars and all that. So there's no stopping them.
Yeah, but definitely fair. It's just all you can hope against stars of that magnitude is just make their life a little tougher. Like
make them work.
Yeah, make them not go to get their easy buckets like they're used to. Like just make it a little harder, and that's what Seven Spurlock's out there to do. So, some other players that jumped out. Niko Bundalo really dominated the glass in that Columbus matchup. He had 14 boards. He scored 11 points, a nice steal, splashing a corner 3, driving downhill, and some active hands for deflections, but also like some impressive ball steals for a 6'10" power forward, where he has a little bit of handle, can kind of drive a little bit. So what's it like being able to coach him up close?
Man, Niko's a unique kid, hyper competitive, like insanely competitive. and bears his emotions on his sleeves, and sometimes that hurts him, but sometimes, I'd rather have that fire and that tenacity than not and have to try and bring it up. And, like you said, just like a very complete all around basketball player. When, for a dude who's like 6'10", 6'11", I remember that corner three. It was a huge shot. I don't remember the exact context, but I think it felt like Columbus was going to go on their run. Columbus is a great team, so you're always just sitting there like, at least I'm sitting there like, okay, when's this run coming? They always go on a run. Like, when's it coming? I felt like it was about to happen, and he had that big three, and then the other play he had was, I think, Darren either posted or drove it baseline, and they threw two at him, and Niko cut right down the middle and caught it for the dunk. So yeah, just like his ability to do a lot of things. Like, he can rebound it well. He can hit catch and shoot threes. He can attack closeouts. He can cut off the ball. He can post up. Like, he just does so many things well offensively, and then rebounds so well that like he's just going to be a very complete player. And I just think, he's going to be a guy where if he's coached well and buys into a role well, he's going to be a super efficient guy as he gets to higher levels, and the guards he plays with are better, and the floor is more space. Because like when he's attacking an advantage, when he's attacking a closeout, like he's so good. Like that's when he's at his best, when he's attacking a closeout, because he's liable to hit one. Like you can't just let him shoot wide open threes. And then once you close out, he has really good foot speed for someone of his size. And so he's just going to drive it down. He has a good floater package. He's pretty, like, he's more athletic than people think, so he can get up and finish, like with a two-handed or one-handed dunk. Yeah, just a very complete player offensively.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, an all-around complete basketball player at 6'10" or 6'11" that can dribble, pass, and shoot a little bit, bring some athleticism, two-way type of feel and instincts. I mean, that's bound for success at multiple levels. And, the fewer holes he has in his game, the fewer holes that can be exploited on the next level and the level after that. So, can definitely see him carving out, a two-way impact winning type of role with everything he brings to the table.
Yeah, exactly. And, he's committed to Washington, and, he's going to be up there with Zoom, and, like, they're gonna be a great little prolific duo up there. But yeah, now Niko has all the tools to be a great player. He's like he's a great high school player right now, and he has all the tools to be a great college player and beyond that. And it's sort of on him to put it together now.
No doubt. So one other guard that really stood out is Rajan Roberts, a 6'1" point guard type. I mean, what really impressed me was impressive handle, had the ball control, smooth floater game, but also had a really shifty change of pace to his style. Like he can just move anywhere he wants on the court.
He better. His Instagram handle's like John So Shifty or John Too Shifty or something like that. So he better be shifty. But yeah, to me, Rajan is one of the most underrated players in the country. I think on 247, I don't think he's ranked. I don't think he has any stars yet. That'll change after this year. Before he got to prolific, he had 3 mid majors, and no disrespect to mid majors, that's a great level. But since getting to here, he's gotten Cal as an offer and gotten Xavier as an offer. And he deserves it. He's really good, man. Like I'm just a big believer. I'm a numbers guy personally. I believe in catch and shoot threes. I believe in getting to the rim. And, rim rate to me is huge, right? And Rajan's someone who just lives in the paint, 2 feet in the paint every time you give him the ball. And, he has a great handle. He has great elite foot speed, like super fast, like a blur, especially his first, second step. He can finish with either hand. He's improving as a playmaker. He's really good in those dump off passes. And yeah, like he's very good, and he's gonna get better because there's things that he can get better on, and he puts in the work to do better at them. Like, I think his handle might be a little too good for his own sake, because like he'll do that thing where shifty guards love doing this, where they'll break a guy down, and instead of going, they'll like let the defender get back into play and try to break him down again. It's like, man, you created the advantage, just go. It's fine. Like, But yeah, man, I'm excited for Rajan. He's only a junior. I think by the end of this year he'll be ranked, and then I think with a full summer to get better, sky's the limit for him. Just when you have a guard who can put that much pressure on the rim, good things are going to happen. Like if you get 2 feet in front of the rim every time, good things are bound to happen.
Yeah, he's working on that and one mixtape. He's got to show off the skills for the highlights. But obviously, like you said, like you got the advantage. Go use it. You don't have
Yeah,
to make it again.
yeah,
To
exactly.
win games.
And he's young, so he's going to figure it out. He's very coachable. He works hard. Like I don't have any doubts he's going to figure it out. And whichever school ends up with him, they're going to be really lucky, and they're gonna, man, by his senior year of college, man, he's gonna be an issue. Like he's gonna be teams are gonna be scrambling to figure out how to stop him from getting into paint.
No doubt, we got to keep an eye on his recruitment and kind of where he ends up. So, the other big game we touched on, Prolific Prep versus Utah Prep. AJ Dybantsa is back to face off against his former team. What was it like for whoever was left on the roster from the year before? It might have just been Winters Grady. I'm not exactly sure. But what was it like with the program going up against Dybantsa? And we all see the highlights. He can jump out the gym. He has the buttery smooth jump shot. But what stands out to you about AJ off the court with his work ethic and chemistry with teammates? And what was it like? Maybe like it seemed like the game plan was to double him almost every time he touched the ball, and what went into that decision?
Yeah, so obviously we were all around AJ for a year, and we knew how spectacular of a player he is. He is a special, special talent. He's gonna make multiple All Stars and All NBAs one day. And he was on our team last year, so we wanted to win. Him and Winters live together at the same host family. They're really close. Obi was in the program last year, and Obi so Obi knew him. We had a couple of our I don't want to call them walk-ons, but like our end of bench guys who were here last year and knew him. And there is no ill will towards AJ. Let me make that clear. I have no bad feelings towards AJ. He's a great kid. He's gonna make All NBA and All Stars. No one in our program has any ill will towards AJ. Like he did nothing wrong. He came here for a year. He was spectacular for a year. Did his job, was professional, and he made a choice to leave. And that's part of basketball, and that's okay. So no ill will towards him. That said, anytime you play your former teammate, you want to win, right? Like it just means a little bit more. And so obviously we were all up for that game. Darren had his personal stakes in it, so he was up for that game. And so we wanted to win. And as far as what I've seen from AJ off the court, just a big time worker, comes in every night, makes sure to get his shots up. And then like off the court, like not even basketball. And Darren does this too. Darren's great at this too. Both of them, like, a lot of those times, those top level guys will sort of like close everyone else off and only hang out with each other, right? But both those guys did a great job. Like AJ would hang out with select guys last year. Darren will hang out with like our second team guys this year, Prolific Green guys, or our so that's something that stands out about them off the court. And then as far as the decision to double AJ, it's just like, hey, he's really good, man. We didn't want him to go downhill and just dunk it on our heads every time, and so we threw 2 at him every time. And he honestly in the first half he did a really good job, just slicing it up with his passing. He was hitting corner cutters. He was hitting Jackson Kiss on the short roll, and Kiss, to his credit, played a phenomenal game and did a great job passing out of the short roll or scoring it when he had to. So I don't know where he's going, but he's a really good center. I like his game a lot. In the second half, we sort of adjusted where we started hard hedging him more, but then recovering a bit quicker, and that was pretty effective. But yeah, with a player like Dybantsa or Boozer, or if I ever had to do a scout against Darren for whatever reason, one player isn't enough to stop those guys or to slow those guys down. You have to it may not even have to be a straight up double team, but you have to be in the gaps, ready to help. It takes 5 guys, like like against Boozer. A big thing was to like build a like the Giannis wall, like the Heat's Giannis wall against him. Like he catches it, like okay, he's just seen bodies, and um, yeah, I think those those that's sort of how you have to treat it. You play the numbers, like make sure you know who you're helping off of and know what they do. Know how to rotate out of the help once they make the pass. So yeah, you know, just but the priority is always going to be to stop the main guy or slow the main guy down.
Yeah, and I mean they still got their numbers. Dybantsa dropped 28 points, 8 boards, 6 assists, like you mentioned, and 4 steals. Darryn Peterson matched it with 32 points, 10 boards, 8 assists himself, and that's what the whole game plan trying to slow him down. And it felt like you did a good job and you won the game. And then you look at the box score and he still got his numbers. So I mean, it's
Oh
not like
yeah,
you
yeah.
can stop that.
Like we said, there's no stopping AJ. There's no stopping Darren. You can only hope to slow them down. The I don't remember what Boozer had. I think his numbers weren't
Yeah, he
as
was
great as
relatively slowed down. I have him right here for you. He in that matchup he tallied 15 points, 9 boards, 1 assist, and 2 steals. So relatively mundane night for Boozer, and what I think was also maybe their opening game of the season.
it
So
was their
maybe
opening game of the
shaking
season.
off
So
some
you
cobwebs.
gotta give him some leeway in terms of they're still building into things. That was our 7th game, so we were in much more of a rhythm than them.
Sure.
But you gotta give him some leeway, and also like, man, 15-9 is a slow night for you. Then you must be pretty good because 15-9 is a great stat line.
Yeah, no
Uh,
doubt, no doubt. I mean, that's how impressive he's been. I mean, they're all top 3 prospects in their 2026 NBA draft for a reason. I think they've sort of edged out that top 3 to me as it could kind of go just about any direction. It might, and obviously there's a lot of time, maybe a whole year of high school ball and a whole year of college ball left if they all end up you know in college basketball, which I think we are actually recording the night before Dybantsa's announcement. So there's rumors he might end up at BYU, Bama, UNC. They're so excited
yeah,
to see what happens there.
yeah, man, I'm excited too. I have no idea, and this could be the little connection that these 3 have. This could be go beyond high school and college. Like this could be an NBA thing. Like sort of like when Magic and Bird played in. I don't want to compare any of those guys to Magic and Bird. That's like that's unfair to any high
Hey,
school kid.
maybe not Magic Bird, and yeah, say I'm with you on the comparisons, but that their draft is like one of the best draft classes I can think of, and I mean, you got LeBron, Wade, and Bosch and Melo were in a draft together, and
Yeah,
that's one of the all time
exactly.
drafts. I mean, that could be this level of draft. I
Yeah,
mean, to me, when the back end of the first round has flyers for starters or even better with, get Caden Boozer or a Caden Lewis or all these different point guards that can score and create. I mean, Malik Thomas, Elijah Arenas just joined the
okay.
draft class
Class
as
up.
well. I mean,
Nate Ament is another one.
yeah, Nate Ament, Chris Sinak. I mean, there's just so much talent of that draft to me is full of possible stars that are it's a perfect ideal draft to have a lottery pick in because there's a good chance you're betting on a talent that really has star potential pretty much wherever you land. So super excited about that draft. And one last note on Peterson. I can't say enough about what he brings to the table. It's funny, I saw someone who it was Ben Matherin do this move in the NBA the other day where he basically did an up and under but in the air, but he dunked it, and I coined it the up and thunder as a throwaway comment. And then I watch it because it sounds funny, but I'm watching Prolific versus Utah Prep, and Darryn Peterson must have done it twice, and that
Yeah,
was
he
like
broke it up twice. I was like, and they were like some of the more aggressive moves I've seen him take. But yeah, man, he's a special talent. He's gonna end up being great. He like I've seen a lot of guys who work hard and have professional approaches, but for his age, he's definitely the most professional player I've seen. Like always on time or early. Always like some other guys like you have to be like they'll do their work. They'll be but you have to remind them like, hey, you should probably work out right now. Like let's go get a workout. And Darren's texting you like, hey, we need to get a workout. Then let me work out. And then he has a great support system too with his parents and his siblings and just everyone around him. Like his dad, Daryl, he played in college basketball for 5-6 years and scored over 1,000 points in college at I believe Akron. And so he knows what he's talking about. Has done a great job teaching Darren. And yeah, they're a very professional group, and they're gonna go far, man.
No doubt. And I mean, he just uses his instincts so well. Like he's a 6'5" big guard with a 6'10" wingspan, if the numbers are right, or maybe close to that. Where how often do you see a guard like flying across the paint for a chase down block or a help side block,
Exactly.
and then like explode downhill and transition on the fast break? Like what his change of pace really stands out too. Like it's rare to see someone with that level of body control where he can just stop on a dime, split two defenders, and then explode to the rim for one of these, up and under dunks like we're talking about. So just had
Yeah.
to shout out his game one more time. And, I know you've kind of already hit on who he is, his work ethic, and just, any kind of parting thoughts on who he is as a person, a teammate, and what kind of like, you see for him as a draft prospect going forward.
Yeah, I think the words that jump out are professional and mature. Like, like he's the type you forget he's a senior in high school just because of his like sort of his demeanor and his approach. He's a pretty he's not that serious. Like he likes to joke around and stuff, but like like especially when you first meet him, he's a shake your hand guy, go to practice guy, be on time to practice, stay late after practice. Like I think he does like one or two extra workouts a day, goes on morning runs. Like he takes his conditioning really seriously. Then he's sort of taken a step forward as a leader this year in terms of like he's open. He's been open about this. He's never been really vocal before this year, and he's gone a lot better at that. Like that was something we had to tell him early on. Like we need you to like lead us, and like when you're talking, you need to talk with some presence in your voice. Be loud, make eye contact, and he's gone way better at that stuff. So just his willingness to get better also is another thing that stands out. And yeah, I have no doubts in my mind that you know he's going to be like a top 3 pick, like you said, and he's going to get all the accolades and everything that comes with it, and he's just going to be great. Like he has a complete game, um, shooting 45% from 3 on the year with us, which is a huge jump from 3 SSB. He shot 30% again with 3 SSB. But yeah, and at the end of the day, you can't sort of with 3 SSB. He averaged 29, 7, and 7. With us, he's averaging about that. And obviously basketball's more than numbers, but that's the sort of production you can't deny. It's just like
Yeah, and I mean, we touched on so many things that he does well, and I think I just want to sum it up and just add how complete of a game he has. And I don't even know if we raved about his shooting enough. Like it seemed like every shot he took from outside is just not even hitting the rim. Like it's just splashing to the net. He's hitting pull up threes, movement threes, floaters, and also I almost forgot his second jump. Like he's able, if he misses a floater, he's the first one to the rebound for the putback on multiple occasions. He'll grab double digit rebounds. He'll grab double digit assists. Like he's a true like complete guard creator, that scoring creator that can create his own shot, create a good look for his teammates, get to the line, grab the boards, force turnovers. I mean, there's just nothing this guy can not do on a basketball court.
yeah, I mean, yeah, he's has such a complete game. I really don't know what else to say for it. Like
Yeah, and not to put you on the spot with since you coach both of them, I'm not going to ask you who's better, But if you had to project, maybe who do you think might end up the actual top pick when it's all said and done between Boozer, Dybantsa, and Derrion?
Man, it's very tough. The Man, I'm not sure. There's so many factors that go into it, like, how they're gonna play. Like, we don't know where AJ is going to college. We know Darren's going to Kansas.
Yeah.
So, like, just like that choice might shift things in terms of, like, what system they're playing in college, who their teammates are. Personally, I'm gonna ride with the guy we have right now. I think, to me, Darren's the best player in the country. And I firmly believe that, by the way. I was trying to avoid saying it, but it's fine. He's on our roster right now. And to me, like, the pull-up shooting and the shot making is sort of what separates it. And then just me personally, I really value lead guards. And, Darren, like, not to say you can't with the other two, but Darren is straight up a point guard where you can just give him the ball and be like, here's a high ball screen. Figure it out. So yeah, I value that. So I think it'll be Darren.
Yeah, I could see it, and that's the right answer. It's context dependent on their roles at the next level and kind of what team is picking. And that's a good point. That like he's pretty much a one man offense in that sense, and the other two could end up there as well. But like in terms of right now, Darren's out here doing it. So I had to at least
Oh, you have to ask. I figured it was
pass
coming. I figured it was coming. I mean, I was thinking about the entire podcast, just being like, should I just say he's the best player in the country? Because I truly believe that, and it was about a few days after I'm sure I could find a text. But it was a few days after he arrived on campus where I was like, oh, okay, he's that guy.
There you go. He's different. Well. One last question for you before we wrap it up was I noticed Mazi Mosley transferred from Montverde to Prolific, and if I got this right, he's Magic Johnson's nephew, or maybe
he is Magic Johnson's nephew.
There you go. Fun fact. I mean, what's it been like getting to coach him? I caught him technically at the NBPA Top-100 Camp, but I didn't see much of him because of how the courts are set up. There's like 6 games going on at once, but he did show some good feel for the game, making good decision making from what I did see. So what's it like being coaching Mosley?
He's only been around for like, I want to say 2 weeks, so it's still very new. Yeah. Still very new, but like big addition to our team in terms of he's this bit taller wing. He can really shoot it. He can play on or off the ball. Like, he has good feel for playmaking, coming off a ball screen. Threw a really good lob to Obi the other day. He can really shoot it. We recruited him over the summer. Broke down his scout when he was at St. Francis. So, fun fact about Mazi, he grew up like 20 minutes from where I grew up. My parents go to his neighborhood all the time because their friends that live there. And the high school he went to, St. Francis. My high school coach, I went to San Marino. He went to St. Francis. So I've known about Mazi's high school team before Mazi knew about his high school team. So yeah, like we broke down the scout. When he was at St. Francis, he shot I think it was 32% from 3 overall, but it was 38% catch and shoot threes and 43% open catch and shoot threes. So we knew that, like, in a role where he's not just getting doubled every time like he would at like this, St. Francis is a great program, but they're a regular high school at the end of the day. So, having been a top 100 guy there, everyone's throwing this kitchen sink to stop him. And, here, he's going to get easier shots, once he gets into a rhythm more, plays a few more games with us, we're really confident he's going to be able to space the floor. And yeah, but the biggest thing that sort of surprised me about him is his competitiveness and willing to guard on defense. Like, he takes a lot of pride in guarding the ball, and he does a really good job of sliding his feet and using his length to contest, and just his energy on that end is sort of infectious. And then, so yeah, we're really excited to have him. And we finally have another LA guy in the program besides me, another California guy. We have a bunch of guys from Boston and North Carolina all the way out here on the West Coast. I told Ryan we need another West Coast guy. I can't be by myself. So I'm glad we added one.
There you go. You got LA representing now. Load it up. I mean, shout out to Prolific Prep. So much talent, just basically a machine churning out these just high level prospects for college and the pros. And, we got to keep an eye on Darren's next step with Kansas and competing at the collegiate level, rooting for him to, keep making a name for himself. And that was a big reason he transferred. He wanted to join a big program, and he's got his money's worth so far. Like, I think he's very much not only in that conversation, but so far he in terms of this season, like, he's dominating it. He's in he might have taken the lead in this never ending, 3-person race for that top spot. So, got to keep an eye on him. And, most importantly, shout out to you for hopping on the pod. I appreciate you taking the
Thank you
time
for
today,
having
Mo.
me, man. Really enjoyed it. Great time. Had a great time.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, good luck the rest of the season. We're hoping to see you and Prolific in the Chipotle Nationals. Hope we get to see that. And then, maybe once you wrap that up, we might have to talk about how you made it and won the championship by then.
Hopefully we gotta get there. We gotta take care of business. Right now, we have the day off, but tomorrow we gotta get back to work and focus on practice tomorrow. Win practice tomorrow and go from there.
There you go. One step at a time, one game at a time. That's what I'd like to hear. Well, thanks again for hopping on. It was a lot of fun talking hoops, man.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you having me.
Have a good one, Mo.
You too.
With Ryan.
Learning Basketball is a Swish Theory podcast hosted from Beyond the Arcade. Hey, that's me. You can find my work on Twitter, YouTube, Substack, and check out the team's writing at theswishtheory.com.